resources. But without our board of trustees, we would not be the five-star library that we are. So I would like to recognize our board, Ms. Taisha Blade, Nathan Page, Dr. Jill Jordan, Dr. Marion Harris, she's back there, Omaze, Secretary, Sheila Hush Sharpley there in the front, Vice President, and our President, Carol Shahid. So we're grateful to be the host of this candidates forum. Thank you, League of Women Voters, East Cleveland. It's amazing working with you. Good luck to the candidates. Everybody get out and vote in November. Let's turn East Cleveland around. And it's just great to see this amazing audience here today. And I'm Carlos Ladner, the Library Director. Thank you. And I'm going to bring up Monique Davis, the President of the East Cleveland Chapter of the League of Women Voters.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of East Cleveland, I would like to welcome you to this community forum. The League is a nonpartisan organization which encourages informed voting and active participation in government. This forum, in partnership with the East Cleveland Public Library, hopefully will give you information about the candidates and what they plan to do for East Cleveland. As we prepare to begin, I have a few housekeeping measures. We'd like to thank, now and later, the Friends of East Cleveland Public Library. They're one of the oldest in the state of Ohio and assist the library to serve the needs of the community. They are to be commended for the level of service and diligence that they give. We will have questions from the audience. Your questions must be written. I have a card. Your questions must be written on the card and your name must be on the card. If your card is selected, please make sure that it is for both candidates. Also, please take this moment to silence your phones, your watches, tablets, any smart device that you have with you. Nowadays, you have to cover again. So please make sure you take the time. It's very distracting for the candidates and for those trying to moderate when there are rings and songs and everything going on. Lastly, if anyone is not registered to vote, please stop out in the hallway to the voter registration table. Also, if you are registered to vote, you've been registered for a while, please check your status. The Secretary of State has taken many people off the roll, so you may think you're active and may not be. If you change address, you may not be active. So please check your status. And with that said, I'd like to turn this over.
So I am going to give introductions to our elected and former elected officials that are in attendance today. So I would like to start off with former Mayor Eric Brewer, who just walked in. We have Omaze, who is a sitting member of the East Cleveland Public Library Board. We have Sheila Sharpley, who is also a sitting member of the East Cleveland Public Library Board. We have El Park, and don't be mad at me, Mr. Park, I don't know what office you currently hold, but we also have Gabe Crenshaw. She will be running for state representative, I believe, representing District 18. Okay. So she's looking to take over that seat from Juanita Brent. We have Elmore Hall, who was just appointed, and I'm sure will probably be elected, to the East Cleveland City Council. Mr. Hall, raise your hand. Okay, all right. We have Pastor Lorenzo Norris, who is the leader of the Cleveland Clergy Alliance. We have one of my favorites, Judge Dawson, who is the sitting judge of the East Cleveland Court. We have former Councilwoman Korean Stevenson, who was also the president of the East Cleveland Friends of the Library. We have the one and only Dr. Mary Rice, who is a member of the East Cleveland School Board, a member of the League of Women Voters, and a brainchild who has put this event together. We have Dr. Patricia Bohoviak, who is a member of the East Cleveland City Council. And I believe that is, oh, okay, and then we have Tim Austin, Councilman Austin, who is a sitting member of the East Cleveland City Council. And I'm sorry, we have Terry Richardson here, who was a sitting member of the East Cleveland City Council. We have Nate Martin, who was a former member of the East Cleveland City Council. Did I put my Yeah, if you are an elected or former elected official in any capacity, please stand so that you can be recognized. Okay, I think I got everything. And once again, welcome, thank you for attending, and we really hope that you find this event informative. And so, thank you. Unsure whether or not I'm supposed to introduce the candidates.
Nope.
But I want
Nope.
to know. Okay. All right.
Good afternoon. These are the rules of the day. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to talk about themselves and their campaign. The candidates will speak in their seating order. The moderator will read the question and call for the order that it will be answered. Each candidate will have a chance to answer the question first. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. The timers will introduce themselves very shortly. We're asking that no cell phones on the tables or earbuds in the ear. Okay, are the timers?
Hello everyone, my name is Elenia Matthews.
I'm Ross Cochran.
And can you explain your procedure?
As you just outlined, each candidate will receive a question and will be given 2 minutes. In 1 minute, let's do that. And they have 30 seconds left. Let's do that. And at the end of 2 minutes, that they'll also hear Michelle.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. In conclusion, each candidate will have up to 3 minutes to share information you feel the voters need to hear from you. As time permits, after the formal questions are finished, we will take questions submitted on index cards from the audience. Mr. K will give and collect the index cards for the moderators. We're asking again, no cell phones on the tables, earbuds in the ears. And good luck, candidates.
The forum participants today are, of course, Sandra Morgan, former interim mayor of the city of East Cleveland, and Lateef Arshabaz, current mayor of the city of East Cleveland. Let's begin.
you're asking for cars, right, question.
Candidate Morgan, what is your method for prioritizing street repair throughout East Cleveland, and what role will council play?
Thank you for this question, and thank you all for coming to our debate today. It's exciting to see so many faces here and to share our outlook and our answers. So I think that the most important thing to do in prioritizing our infrastructure development, particularly around our roads, is to go to those roads that need the work the most first. So as an example, right now, Hayden, Shaw, and some other streets are in desperate need of repair. Not only because of the paving, but because of the infrastructure underneath, meaning the pipes, both water, sewer, sometimes gas lines, and others, need repair first. So it's important that those things be addressed before we ultimately repave the streets. It will result in pavement lasting longer. It will also mean better services to our citizens as we have water, water flowing better, that we have a separation of sewer water and rainwater or storm water, that our gas lines are modern, and it sets us up for modern infrastructure. As I've said before, we have to move at the speed of progress, and so that is why I think it's important to start with the most critical roads first, and then work our way, to those that have the least need. The role of council will be really important. We'll need to set a legislative agenda in order to address these issues, but also everything that goes around it. Because as you know, it's rarely just one thing that you're voting on. You vote on that one issue, and then there are a number of items that you'll have to address around it. Funding, partnerships, everything. And so in that regard, that's how I think that we would work together.
Candidate Shabazz, shall I repeat the question?
Yes.
What is your method? What is your method for prioritizing street repair throughout East Cleveland, and what role will council play?
Well, my plans is, I talked to Juanita Gallup, and she's a state representative. She offered a grant, right, I'm sorry. She offered a grant that is $100 million for us to fix Euclid Avenue and all the major streets in East Cleveland. So that grant is what we're working on now. We have to have that in by December the 31st, and I'm gonna have it in by October the 15th. So that will fix every street curve in East Cleveland, and that would also attract new businesses, because people don't want to live here and these streets looking like this. And I don't know, the last two administrations, they had the opportunity to do this. No, I'm not a genius. I'm just going by the opportunities that I have available to me and to the city to have those streets fixed. And I think that would bring the city back, because now you're going to have businesses want to come in here. Because businesses don't want to come in here if the streets is messed up. And, because some of these streets look like we've been in a war. And so I figured that council would have to pass that legislation, and we should have councilmen who's think that they're who wants to have that done. And so that's what my plans are, fixing these streets.
Candidate Shabazz, curb appeal, or how a property looks when viewed from outside, is a strong measure of property value. What plans do you have to create, maintain, and enforce curb appeal throughout East Cleveland?
Well, HUD has $4 million that we're trying to get, that the last two administrations did not accept. The $44 million will, to the residents, will fix their homes and bring it up to par. Because when they trying to take East Cleveland over. So all the property here, most of it is
appraised for $13,000–14,000. This way, it would bring the property value up, and if they gentrify the area, they would have to pay people the price that their property appraised for. So curb appeal, that's going to make the houses look beautiful because they're going to have windows, they're going to have roofs on their homes, they can have their homes insulated, and they can also have their house rewired. And the main thing about it, I don't know about this one particular program, they would have to live in the house 5 years before they sell it. So people who try to come in here and push them out, they can't push them out because they got to stay in the house for 5 years.
Candidate Morgan?
Thank you. So I think that the funding that Mayor Shabazz is referring to in both cases, one is funding from the capital budget from the state of Ohio, and the other is HUD, CDBG, and home money. So with regard to the capital budget funds, I would caution that we be conservative in our thoughts and ideas about this money because it's not guaranteed. I know that there's a request we will put in a request, or the administration will, for $100 million, but there are a number of hurdles that we have to get over in order to get to that money. First of all, we're in a deeply red state now with a very conservative legislature, both in the state house and the Senate, and they would have to buy into that, first of all, and our representative, Juanita Brent, is going to need to find co-sponsors for that bill as well in order to push it forward. And thirdly, if she wins her seat, she won't even be in Columbus by the time this comes up to the legislature. So let's be conservative in our spending, both of our ideas for that federal money and also in the distribution of the HUD CDBG funds. From my perspective, yes, number one, we do need to provide assistance to homeowners to help them raise curb appeal in their houses. But we also have to enforce the laws that we have on the books here in East Cleveland in order to encourage people, one way or another, to fix up their properties. And lastly, we have to reimagine some of our main thoroughfares so that they have appeal and people actually want to come into East Cleveland, meaning Euclid Avenue, Hayden, Shaw, and the other traditionally commercial districts of our city. If it looks good as they're driving through, it will, I think, make them interested in knowing more. Thank you.
Candidate Morgan, before I ask the question, someone is asking if you could put the microphone a little closer to your mouth.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Question for you. Present 3 options for either raising city revenue or reducing city expenses to combat the debt problems of the city.
Well, I can tell you that it is virtually impossible to cut any more fat from our city budget. We have cut almost as much as we can without influencing city services. My fear is that if we cut any more, we will really significantly cut back on city services. We can't do that. And so, in order to raise revenues, I have a few ideas. Number one, I'm really encouraging people to come home to East Cleveland. You know, people have left the city either because they've gone to college and they don't want to come back, or they have left the city for a variety of reasons. But we live in a region where there are a lot of what they call boomerang families, or boomerang individuals who leave, they get expertise elsewhere, and then they come home. Why not come home to East Cleveland? We've got a variety of housing stock here. You know, it is my goal to bring new housing stock here to East Cleveland. And so we can, by bringing new people here, both, you know, old friends, old residents, and new, it raises our tax base. It raises our tax base not only property taxes, but in income taxes. And that is really going to help us. That's also going to influence business coming into East Cleveland, which will also support our tax base and help us generate revenues. And of course, developing partnerships with other organizations outside of our city, as well as writing for grants and other things strategically. I think that is going to help to dramatically increase the amount of income that we have in our city, provide better services, and of course populate our city, hopefully with young families, children that will be here for a number of years to come.
Thank you. Candidate Shabazz present 3 options for either raising city revenue or reducing city expenses to combat the debt problems of the city.
Well, we have to grant our way out of the city. We need, I hired grant writers because that's what we need to bring people back into the city. You notice that we don't have any banks here. So the property here, nobody has any equity in their property. So that's why the banks left here. So what we have to do is bring grant writers in here to write grants for different things. Then we have to clean up the police department. Because nobody want to live in a city that drugs houses on every corner. And you have 22 policemen indicted. That fear people. I wouldn't want my kids to be living in a city that the police have 22 of them indicted. That's crazy. So if we clean up the police station and clean up these dope houses, then people will want to move back here. And we have to get these school systems in great shape. Now, they said that they're losing a lot of kids to these charter schools. Well, one thing the charter schools don't have is athletic. Build up your athletic department, and that will attract kids into the city. Because that's how poor kids get scholarships to go to college, through academics. So if you focus on, like, hiring somebody that used to be on the Cavs or coach the Browns and bring them in to coach your athletic department, that would bring people say, well, let's move to East Cleveland because he's an ex-pro. He can teach your kids how to go to the pros. And that attracts families, education. So these charter schools can't compete with the schools that have great athletic departments. So that's what we have to concentrate on to bring people into this city.
Candidate Shabazz,
Yes, sir.
are you in favor of establishing a citywide planning commission? And if so, how would you see it operating?
What commission?
A citywide planning commission.
Yes.
What role do you see the county land bank playing in the planning process?
I'm not encouraged with the land bank because, I've seen so many things. See, I lived in other cities, and I see things that happening in East Cleveland that happened in that city 10, 15 years ago. So I know, how they manipulate when a house catch on fire, the land bank tear it down, and then that becomes the land bank's property. That's what they did down in Cleveland, where Cleveland Clinic is. That community down there, 85% of the fires was arson. That's impossible to have 85% of the fires arson. That usually don't run no more than 5%. But, so, yeah, we need a planning commission to plan the city and see which way they want it to go. And it should be the people who live here, not outsiders. Because outsiders are looking for investment. They come in here, they want to buy your property. I know all of you getting calls. Do you want to sell your property? Do you want to sell your property? And it's way lower than what your property is praised for. You can have $50,000 worth of work done on your property, but they only want to ask you for $14,000 to buy your property. So that's what I'm trying to do, save people from being pushed out. We got to quit being pushed out of our communities. And I'm the one who's going to stand up and fight for that. So if you like to be gentrified, I'm not your candidate. But if you want to keep this city strong and prosperous, then I'm your candidate.
Candidate Morgan, I'll repeat the question.
Thank you.
Are you in favor of establishing a citywide planning commission? And if so, how would you see it operating? What role do you see the county land bank playing in the planning process?
Well, I think we do need a city planning council or group here in East Cleveland. And I agree that it should be a combination of our citizens, experts, and planning, people who have planning expertise. That is going to be critical to ensuring that we have a strong plan. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, however, because there are a number of plans that have been developed over the years. And the most recent plan takes into account a number of issues that we still face today, unfortunately. So I would see us having a planning commission that addresses infrastructure, zoning, business development, housing starts, the like, right? And including education and the role that our public schools can play in our city development. Our MLK, the rec centers, the other places where we keep people engaged and safe also should be considered. And the land bank, I think, has to be a partner in this. They are, after all, a stakeholder in our city. But I would say that we cannot allow the tail to wag the dog. In other words, the land bank doesn't lead our plan. The land bank is a part of our plan. And I think that that's worked very well in other communities, actually. And there's been a lot that has been done as a result of it. You know, I think that we need a progressive plan. We need all partners around the table, including our citizens, and we need the expertise of some outsiders as well.
Candidate Morgan, what is your vision of East Cleveland 20 years from now, and how will you make that vision come to life?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. You know, I think that my vision for East Cleveland 20 years from now is a community that is alive, that's thriving. We have a thriving commercial sector here. We have a thriving industrial center. You know, I think that we have the opportunity to bring some small, light manufacturing back to East Cleveland. We've got a number of buildings here that are perfectly suited for it. And as you all know, manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, is foundational to the business community here in Northeast Ohio. And it would provide us with excellent jobs. And these are jobs that support families. They're not, you know, some of the traditional service jobs. But service jobs are important too. We need a variety of everything. But again, I want to see a thriving commercial district. I want to see restaurants and all kinds of fun things here. I want to see a thriving business community here. I want to see homes, all kinds of homes. You know, we want to embrace our low-income families, our working-class families, our professional families, and beyond. There's a place for everyone here in East Cleveland. More importantly, I want to see children here in East Cleveland because you know, it sounds trite, children are our future, but they really are. We need young people here in East Cleveland to attend our schools, to contribute to our tax base, and to be lively parts of our community going forward. And for me, I think my legacy would be, you know, that Sandra Morgan did the unglamorous hard work, laying the foundation and sowing the seeds for that prosperity 20 years from now.
Candidate Shabazz, what is your vision of East Cleveland 20 years from now, and how will you make that vision come to life?
Well, it's about the market. It's about what you can sell East Cleveland on. And you got to look at what's happening now. The weather, you got out west, you have forest fires. Down south, you have 110 degrees in the summertime. We don't have that kind of weather. And this is a great opportunity to bring people here, senior citizens, because sometimes, like I was in Brooklyn last month, and people in Brooklyn paying $4,200 rent. You don't pay that, you don't have to pay that in Cleveland. So you can draw people from those cities. You have to sell Cleveland. You can't sit back and don't promote it. In any business, you have to have advertising. You have to sell it. And this place is easy to sell. We have beautiful weather. We have trees here. So when people be down in Texas, Florida, they have breathing problems. You ain't gonna have that in Cleveland. You only have 90-degree weather 5 to 6 days out of the summer. That's a great selling point to other places that you have forest fires and stuff. And it's a great place to sell. All the investors need to be coming here and invest because this place is a gold mine and it can easily take off. So my vision is whatever the market is, however we can sell this, because the Airbnb will blow up here. It will really blow up here because people would want to come in for a weekend or weeks, just to spend their money. But we have to have things to bring them here, events, things that bring them here. And we got the stadium down here, these rock concerts or whatever. We can do that.
Candidate Shabazz.
Yes.
East Cleveland is primed for redevelopment, with numerous lots available for development. Are you in favor of market rate housing over affordable housing, or a balance of the two?
You have to have balance of the two. Because you gotta have people to work in these places. And they can't, have this pay too much rent or put them out because they have to come here and work. It ain't work a minimum wage job for you to catch a bus from another neighborhood to come here to work. So you gotta have balance. And you have to have, you can have people that work in New York and live here because everybody working at home now. So if you work, say in New York, why you want to pay $4,200 to live in Brooklyn? Not Manhattan, Brooklyn, okay? But you can pay $2,000 here and live real good in Cleveland. So yeah, you gotta have a balance.
Candidate Morgan.
I agree that we need a balance of various types of housing, and I also agree that we need to have housing that supports the people who would work in East Cleveland, which is why I think that it's such a great idea to bring small manufacturing, light manufacturing back to East Cleveland, and a number of other industrial-based jobs to the city. But yes, we have to have a variety of housing, and that includes the rehabilitation and redevelopment of existing housing that can be saved, of building a variety of types of housing. I mean, there's all sorts of things going on now, from the tiny house movement to prefab housing to the housing types that are going up in Circle East, and then of course the luxury homes that I know that there's some we're interested in pursuing here in East Cleveland too. A variety of housing stock will attract a variety of people, and that will naturally increase our tax base and make the city a very comfortable place for all of us.
Good morning. What connections or business relationships do you have that can benefit East Cleveland's redevelopment?
Well, the cornerstone of my career, no matter where I have been, has been in building relationships and creating opportunities that are mutually beneficial between the organization and other organizations. And so, I would say right off the rip, I've had numerous conversations with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. They are very interested in coming into East Cleveland on a number of things. I was told, Sandra, come up with a bold and audacious plan. Let's think big for the city of East Cleveland. And of course, their interest is primarily around commercial development, and that's just fine. The Greater Cleveland Partnership, which is formerly the Greater Cleveland Growth Association in downtown Cleveland, is also really interested in supporting East Cleveland, not to take over the city, not to push us around and tell us what to do, but earnestly to support our efforts, and they can be very helpful for us down in Columbus. You know, the land bank is a necessary partner because they're already here. You know, I've got lots of relationships throughout the state, both in the county, certainly, downstate with the Ohio Department of Development. I have a great relationship with Lydia Mahalik. You know, I'm an Ohio Commodore, so I can take advantage of all the businesses that are involved in the Commodores, including the governor himself. You know, there are lots and lots of entities here. Team Neo, Jobs Ohio, with whom I have a great relationship with, and many others that are very interested in helping the city of East Cleveland, not taking it over, supporting our efforts, and helping us to make our dreams come true.
What connections or business relationships do you have that can benefit East Cleveland's redevelopment? Candidate Shabazz.
My whole career, I was born to do this job. My whole career, I'm an economist, I have a degree in business, I have a real estate license, I have a broker's license, I had a company in Chicago that I was the CEO of, and I had grossed over $20 million in sales. So I know what attracts business to a city. You have to have, you're not going to come to a city that the school system is very low. That's not going to happen because people are going to recruit people to come from those school systems. And they're not going to come to a place that the crime is high because they're not coming somewhere where they can get robbed and people are going to shoplift them out of the city. And no, they're not going to come and take over. They're going to price you out of your community. We have people right here in East Cleveland who can bring this city back. I know some brilliant people here, and a few of them in the audience, I don't want to call them out, but it's some brilliant people here that I take advice from, and you got to be really good for me to take advice from.
Candidate Shabazz, were you in favor of Metro Parks leasing Forest Hills Park? Will you try to bring Metro Parks back to the table as a management partner?
Metro could have had that park. There was a guy that came from the hill, okay, he the one with the ponytail, I don't know if y'all know. He came here and he told me, we had a discussion, and Tim was there, and a few other guys was there. And we talked, and he was saying Brandon King was a lousy, no good mayor. I said, really? He said, yeah, I know you're a lousy, no good mayor. I said, you come to the council meeting and you say that in the council meeting, and I'll sign this bill for them to have Metro Park. So we, council, did not stop that deal. What did I just say? Y'all was gonna sign that bill. All he had to do was come and say what he said about Brandon King, which was true. And he didn't do it. So the discussion didn't go any further than that.
Candidate Morgan.
I support the Metro Parks, working with the Metro Parks in order to take care of, serve as stewards and caretakers of the Forest Hills Park. I know that there was a lot of controversy around the first go-around with Metro Parks, but the fact remains is that they are considered one of the top 5 stewards of public lands in the country. They have stellar reputation, and they are able to attract funds, very easily in support of their initiatives. I believe that it's sitting down as a community, working together, and I have an idea that we should have like a parks committee. We should have a green committee because we have some beautiful parks here in East Cleveland, and they all deserve attention, by the way. But the Metro Parks will do a great job with Forest Hill Park. There's trees that need to be picked up, trails that need to be redesigned. We have a dam that needs to be uncovered and redone. There's so many things that need to happen there. Running water, having the pond cleaned out and restocked. They will do a masterful job. I think that the devil is in the details. And when we sit down with them again, we will be able to negotiate, an agreement that we can all enjoy and like and agree to, and be able to move forward with them. And I look forward to that because we really need the help and the support of the park. It is a formidable job to take care of it, and it's a lot of money, and it's a bunch of money that we don't have, quite frankly. And so if we can have someone to contribute in a way that helps us, I say let's give it a go.
Candidate Morgan, community policing is seen as a way for police and community members to collaborate around issues of safety and crime prevention. What efforts will you take to improve the relationship between the police and the community to promote safe streets?
Well, for one thing, I think it's important that we do an audit of our safety forces, both police and fire. I mean, these are men and women who work really hard, and this audit would not be to point fingers at people and that sort of thing, but rather to determine what our needs are. I mean, we know that we need more boots on the ground, so to speak. We need more men and women on the ground. That is going to help an incredible amount. But more than that, what is the training that they need? Who has what training? We need an audit on that. How much training have they already had? What are some of the new and progressive training things that we can do in order to make sure that they're working on our behalf? I think that we need people who are trained in youth crisis. I think we need people who are trained in domestic violence. We need a multicultural, multi-ethnic, bilingual or multilingual members on our police force. There's a lot that we can do in order to upgrade the services of our police and make them the best men and women that they can be. That being said, they also need to be members of the community, and they need to be out and about in the community, not just in cars. And the reason that so many they're just in cars is because we simply don't have enough. But if we have enough officers, we can have them in squad cars. We can have them on the street, on the beat, so to speak. They can be on segways or bicycles or what have you, but most importantly, they will be in the community meeting you. I want our police, when children are in trouble, I want them to run to the police, not from the police.
Thank you. Community policing is seen as a way for police and community policing is seen as a way for police and community members to collaborate around issues of safety and crime prevention. What efforts will you take to improve the relationship between the police and the community to promote safe streets?
Well, the police have had a civil service training. They don't even know how to be the police because they don't know the rules and regulations that police should be following. So my relationship with the police and the community is I'm really thinking about having the sheriffs come in because, to Shaw High School reunion, the sheriffs did a beautiful job of keeping the violence down. And that's what we have to handle. That's how we have to keep the violence down, and the sheriffs must come in. And I'm really thinking about it because corruption in the police force is, I've never really seen until I got to be mayor, how corrupt our police have been. You know, and I don't think there's no saving some of them, because I believe some of them are protecting the drug houses. I have gave Chief London a bunch of dope houses. He never even investigated. And so now I think that he was protecting them. And so it's corruption is so, if it's up here, if it's the top, it's always gonna go down to the bottom. So we need to redesign our police station and our police. And I think that's what help the city, because some people are scared to come to East Cleveland. Some people are really scared to come to East Cleveland because they're scared of the police. They're not scared of the criminals, they're scared of the police. So we have to do something about the police department. And we're way understaffed. So we need to be having a partnership with the sheriff, and that's my intention. And bringing the sheriff in and having a partnership with him. I really should have got a bigger hands to do that. I was supposed to be nice today.
You're both doing very well. Very nice. Thank you. Candidate Shabazz, what measures will the city provide under your administration to make it safer for children to go back and forth to school?
Repeat one more time.
What measures will the city provide under your administration to make it safer for children to go back and forth to school?
Well, we have to get rid of these houses that's vacant and burn out. We got to get rid of them. We got to get rid of this high grass, you know, because it's so bad here that's why people bringing dead bodies here and dumping them. Because they think the East Cleveland police can't catch a cold. So they bring crime here illegally here, dumping bodies, burning up bodies here. You know, so we have to keep the streets clean, and not only that, in the daytime when the kids go to school, we got to lighten up our boards. We got the street lights dark. They know for science that dark streets attract crime. They know this. This is taught in college. So when your street lights is out, you're supposed to call and bug us to death to get your street lights on. Because they're inviting crime into your neighborhood, which is going to devalue your property and put you in jeopardy. When people can't go after you eat dinner, you don't feel safe to walk around on the block and digest your food. That's why we got so much high blood pressure and diabetes. People don't feel safe to walk around the block. So that's what I want to do. I want senior citizens, I want you 65, 70 years old, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night to feel safe to walk around your block.
Candidate Morgan, shall I repeat the question? Sure. What measures will the city provide under your administration to make it safer for children to go back and forth to school?
Well, first of all, I agree with Mayor Shabazz that, these dilapidated buildings and empty lots really need to be addressed. And that is an ongoing, long-term problem or issue that we'll have here in the city of East Cleveland. But you know what? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so as we pull down these buildings, create, remediated lots and ultimately redevelopment, that is going to help considerably. We would ask that people who, own homes or renting out their homes, that they take a look at their homes and make sure that the grass is cut and that it's kept tidy so that people feel comfortable walking by. I know that there were many times as I was walking around canvassing that I saw lots with lots and, really overgrown and trees and all sorts of things. And if I had to step out into the street and was really watching my steps, I can only imagine how that would be for a youngster on their way to and from school. But more than that, we need our safety forces to be on the lookout for students. And so, we've got a bunch of money that we got from the camera tickets, and I've proposed using that money to hire new police officers whose remit would be specifically around the schools. Going around the schools, making sure that our students are safe and that they're getting to and from school, getting past some of these gas stations and convenience stores where things are going on that are, not for little kids, and getting them their safety. Making sure that we have crossing guards to help students across the street. Not only do they help ensure safety, but sometimes a crossing guard is a kid's friend, right? They will confide in a crossing guard before they'll talk to their parents, right? And then lastly, installing some speed tables strategically placed around the schools so that people slow down.
Okay, Candidate Morgan, please explain how your employment history has prepared you for the position you are seeking.
Well, I'm going to say that my career has been a long and winding road, but always leading to leadership, thoughtfulness, effectiveness, and making a difference. So I began my career in the financial services industry in New York City, and then found that I had a passion for international affairs, international business, and moved in that direction and worked here in Cleveland for the World Trade Center as the regional manager for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So what is that? That is essentially building relationships, understanding others, finding mutual ground, and then letting business move forward. During the course of my time at the World Trade Center, Cleveland, I worked with scores of small, medium, and large businesses, many of whom I still have relationships with today, and I'm talking everyone from Sherwin-Williams and Eaton Corporation, of course the Cleveland Clinic, to small companies, smaller companies like Jergens and others that are manufacturers and the like. Moving on from there, I've worked with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. I've worked in a number of places, most recently at Kent State University, but throughout my career it has been based on collaboration, building relationships, making sure that it's a win-win for everyone, and then showing results. And those results can be in any way from, bringing income into the organization, making sure that companies receive contracts and are doing well, all sorts of things. Most recently, I've worked with Blue Abyss, which is a British-owned company to come into Northeast Ohio. They are focused on both deep sea and deep space. They've got contracts now with NASA Glenn, and it represents a $200 million investment into Northeast Ohio.
Candidate Shabazz, please explain how your employment history has prepared you for the position you are seeking.
Well, I've been in sales, so I have great relationships with people. I know how to sell. I'm a great salesman. When I was a Cellular One. I put Cellular One on the map. I was the only black to work for Cellular One, and I outsold more people, everybody in that company, and I was the only black. They didn't even want to hire me because I was black. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got to change this. So, that's one thing I'm proud of. So when I came to Cleveland, I got a lot of things that I'm real estate is really where you know how to build a city, and you know how to attract the people. You know with 20% down on the property that they don't become ghettos. What becomes ghettos when you put 3 or 5% down on the property? That's become ghetto. So you have to know what type of construction to bring into the city, to bring the type of people that you want to come in here, okay? So when I got back here, and I'm jumping around. When I got back here, when I came here, the states that I was in had casinos. So a friend of mine had a petition company. They wanted, you know, to bring casinos. But when I started working for the company, this was a Bible state, so they had turned it down. They never got on the ballot. But when I started working for the company, I trained the people who was working under me, and we got out and we got enough signatures to bring casinos here. That's thousands of jobs and billion dollars of money that stays in this state that don't go out. So that's one thing I am grateful and proud of. Then the marijuana, it was 10 years ago, when I started seeing that our kids were getting felonies for having 2 ounces of weed, and that ruined their life. So I'm like, let's go out here and try to get it legalized. And we did.
Thank you, candidates. This will be the last of our moderated questions. We'll move on to another set. So candidate Shabbat. Low voter turnout is a clear indicator that people have lost faith in the political process. East Cleveland voter turnout is historically very low. If you're elected to office, what efforts will you take to restore the political faith of the people?
Well, education. The people who don't vote is low, they have a low education. You know, they don't, you know, the higher education you have, people vote. Okay? When people don't vote, it's because they don't know the process. They don't know the power of voting. So, how would I do it? I mean, you got to teach it in school. You know, we don't have the pride no more like when I came up. You know, we don't have the pride that we had. And we don't have the candidates that make you say, I'm going to go vote. Just don't. Yeah, we don't have the candidates, and East Cleveland hasn't had candidates since Brewer. He was the only candidate. And see, this is why we in this. You got people that don't like each other. You know what I'm saying? You can't run a city. This side don't like. It's divided here. You got to bring the people together.
Right.
And if you don't come together, you're going to die separated. And that's why people's not interested in voting here no more. No candidate turns them on. And we got to get people to, you know, to run for office. There's a lot of people here very talented, but they don't want to be bothered with council, what they go through with council meetings. This council meetings has been a disaster. It's embarrassing how public come out and act in council. Council is business. It don't have no clowns coming here and acting up, calling council all kind of names. This is business. And if you don't look at it as business, you're going to be just like this city is.
Candidate Morgan, shall I repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Low voter turnout is a clear indicator that people have lost faith in the political process. East Cleveland voter turnout is historically very low. If you're elected to office, what efforts will you take to restore the political faith of the people?
Thank you. Well, you know, as my mother would say, Mr. Brewer, I can show you better than I can tell you. It's time for us to re-energize our city. And quite honestly, you know, Mayor Shabazz is right. We do need better education in our schools around civics. Young people need to know the importance of not only voting, but what our government is and what it is not, what it stands for, and what our voices mean in those governments. I mean, I know And you all know too that many of our relatives, our ancestors, suffered for the right to vote. And so to not take advantage of that and to make our voices heard through our vote is really kind of a travesty. And young people, and all people, need to know that. Other than that, I think, you know what, just getting the work done, showing that by putting someone in office who's going to do what they say and say what they do, is going to raise faith in politics again and make sure that people then are interested in coming out to vote. And more than that, I guess we have to really work on voter registration. People register to vote and then they don't show up for the polls anyway. You know, we have to make sure that people get out to the polls, and that has to be through education, you know, and letting them know that it is their voice, and not only on the presidential level where everyone comes out to vote, it seems, but the small local elections are really the most important ones, because those are the ones that impact our daily lives. And so we really have to come out. If you want something to happen that's good, you have to come out and vote on the local elections specifically.
Thank you. And as for this portion of our segment, we're going to have each of the candidates, since you each served as mayor, we'll give you the opportunity to ask each candidate, each other, a question. The 2-minute time limit still applies. Yes.
Start with that. I seen the police chief campaigning for you, and he's been putting out information that January he's going to be back in the police chief. So if you become the mayor, are you going to hire London back?
I can tell you that Mr. Lundy, if he said that, then he misspoke, because it is not right for anyone to presuppose what will happen after any election, and particularly in my administration. I will say this, that if Mr. Lundy is back in City Hall and back in the police department, it will be because of the grievances that have been filed against the city of East Cleveland by the Fraternal Order of Police regarding his firing, regarding his back pay, and a variety of other things. And that he may very well, by default, end up back in the city of East Cleveland because of the way that was handled.
Well,
Thank you. Mayor Shabazz, you have been a member of City Council for a number of years, as well as the president of council. And you spoke quite eloquently a couple of minutes ago about the role of council. So can you share with us one piece of legislation in particular that you think has been most impactful on the community that you wrote, presented to council, and had passed? And that doesn't mean co-sponsored or sponsored, but a piece of legislation, a unique piece of legislation that you brought forward that has an impact on our community.
what happened, because I've been passing stuff like the streets to fix Haiti, Woodworth, Ardenal, Strathmore.
Is this legislation that you yourself wrote?
No, I didn't write it, but I supported it. I supported it, and I got new legislation that I'm getting ready to pass, and yes, no, I didn't write it, but I supported it. And the reason that when I got into council, the mayor did not identify me as the council president, as the council. So when I had to go to court, he put Mark Thomas in my position, and he was paying Mark Thomas. So I have a lot of time fighting administration for him to run the city properly. So now that we won that legislation, and I got into council, so it's like I had 1 year that I didn't learn anything, and I had to catch up for all the other times that I wasn't on council. So you know that's a good question, and I learned a lot after we got King out of office, and I'm so glad that we got him out of office, because now the city can run like the city's supposed to. You cannot have a mayor denying the people council members or whatever. He was running the city without using the charter. He didn't never have the charter. They never used the charter to run anything. I mean, everything. Anytime that a council person sit up and say that you was the mayor.
Thank you so very much. We certainly appreciate it. Here comes our Mayoral. Thank you. Now we've come to a very important part of our program for today. It is important that the constituents, those individuals who live and work in this city, have an opportunity to ask questions of the two individuals who want to run this city. So, but this is the way. I cannot possibly take every last one of your questions. You know that. Am I right? Right. I want to be as fair as I possibly can. We've had a number of questions that were written, solicited, that we've asked. They've had a chance to ask the question of each other. Now you have turned in your individual cards. Ladies, raise your hands over there that's responsible for those cards. You see those two ladies here? They are responsible for the cards. There's been a committee that have looked at the cards that have been submitted, and now we're getting ready to have those questions asked that have been submitted by you. I'm asking Mrs. Westbrook if you will come down and take the mic. Or you want to come over here and take the mic? Fine. To come over here and take the mic and ask those questions that the committee has selected. She will call your name, you will come down, and you will ask your own question. Mrs. Westbrook?
Thank you, Dr. Rice. Greg Champion. Deidre. I didn't have a last name for you, but Deidre. Judge Dawson. Judge Dawson. Omaze.
All right, good afternoon to both amazing candidates. I just have an update and just I wanted to get your ideas. So we know we have a jail issue in East Cleveland, and just recently I was on an email where the county is getting very serious about charging us for inmates. In fact, they've raised their fees. I think it's anywhere between $240 to $260 per day per inmate. And we have some cases that come in front of our court with mandatory jail time. For instance, driving while intoxicated. It can be anywhere from 3 days to 30 days to 6 months. Domestic violence and things like that. So as the judge, I know I'm going to need to use the power of our jail. But I did a couple of calculations. If I sent 4 people to jail a month, and we probably need in certain situations to send 4 people a week, we're looking at $360,000 in that one instant. That's if I only sent 4 people a month for a year. So I just wanted to get your ideas and what your plans are for some type of jail or holding facility or a temporary facility. And last thing I want to mention, even for the safety of the mayor's city hall, because you will have control of the city hall, we need some type of facility just to keep the order in the hallways, because what I've noticed over the last few months is that there are times when people get disorderly and there's disruption, and the best thing I can do is say, go home, because we have nowhere to put them. So I just wanted to get your ideas on that. Thank you.
Ron Belushi.
All right, and so, should I answer the question now? Okay. So I know that this is a significant problem for East Cleveland. Our jail is a little shop of horrors, no joke. I mean, it is very scary down there. And we would be breaking federal and state and local laws and mandates if we put anyone in those jails. It literally is that bad. All the same, we have to have some sort of facility. I think that we've had some estimates in the past on repairing the jail. Updating the jail and simply bringing it up to code would be in the neighborhood of $1 million in order to do that. Still, it's a problem that we face, and we have to do something about it. I'm going to be honest with you that I don't have a solution at the moment. We thought about housing people in other communities. I thought immediately of Euclid, where they have a beautiful facility, but they're not taking outsiders. I thought about Cleveland Heights. It wasn't the time to have that conversation with their current mayor, or maybe now he's gone, I don't know. But in other words, there was not an opportunity for conversation with Cleveland Heights. And so it's something that we're going to have to address really sooner rather than later. And maybe that is an opportunity for us to write a bunch of grants in order to get the money that we need in order to update the facility and bring it up to code.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I know the answer, but I can meet with you and we can discuss it. What you suggest, that's what I would do, because I'm not a criminal. I'm not a judge, so I never ran that department. But I would have a conversation with you and I would listen to you and what your advice would be. But then too, we got to put leg monitors on some of these people, and you have to run it that way until we can do better. Like I say, East Cleveland, we got a grant already out of this. We got to hire, I hired 2 grant writers. So, we have to discuss, and if we see a grant, we can write a grant to rectify that.
Next one.
Yes, my name is Greg Champion. I run a nonprofit called Project Change Recidivism. The reason I'm from East Cleveland, born and raised, so I reached out in April to the EPA in Ohio to find out if my nonprofit could help with the cleanup of East Cleveland. So she told me that the week before I had spoke with her, that Northeast Ohio had been granted $1.6 million for recycling and litter cleanup. So I was wondering what part of the $1.6 million did East Cleveland get for cleanup?
Good question. Hey, I haven't heard of that one. I just been in office for 2 months. But I like to have a conversation with you about that because I don't pretend that I have all the answers. I just put good people around me who know who's professional and know, to advise me to do things. And I have a great team around me, So, call me and we'll talk about it,
Want to answer that question too? Yeah. Okay, thank you. You know what? I think it's fantastic that the EPA has talked about cleanup and remediation throughout Northeast Ohio. As you know, both the state and the federal EPA have been in the region for the past couple of years, primarily focused on East Palestine, but throughout the region as well. I'm not aware of that money either, but I would guess that it came to the county, came into Cuyahoga County, and then Cuyahoga County will parcel out those funds. And so it's worth having a conversation with our county leadership in order to figure out what we can get as a part of that big hunk of money.
Hi, I'm a resident of East Cleveland since 2008, and as I've been a resident, I've watched most mayors be indicted or went to jail due to stolen money. So my question is, what are you going to put in place to make sure that the money is allocated to the right place? And who's going to be the overseer of the money to make sure that it's not stolen? And also, I would like to still see a breakdown when you receive money that it is on the website. I'm a resident and I would like to see it and follow it. So I want to know what you're going to put in place for those things.
Repeat it again.
what are you gonna put in place to make sure the money is not stolen from East Cleveland and make sure that it's allocated in the right place?
Thank you for that question, and it's really a critically important question for the future of our city. So as you know, right now we're under state mandate with the Fiscal Oversight Commission, and that should have been, one of the checks and balances that kept money in the coffers. Unfortunately, it did not, because the previous mayor had ways of getting around it and taking money. That being said, the funding that we have now and funding to come should, by charter, we should be giving out reports once a month to talk about the state of our income, where it's going, how it's being spent, and that should be both in paper reports as well as online and provided to our citizens. Our finances right now are in such a balled up mess, it's almost impossible to create those reports. All the same, you should know the good, the bad, the ugly, and the truth, right? All right, I can also say that having dynamite people around you that understand finance will make a huge difference. I've got a couple of people that I think will do a fantastic job. They're not interested in going to jail, nor am I. Orange is not my color. And so working together, we will ensure that the books are, whatever the case is in terms of our financial, status and the flow of income and outcome, that we will tell the truth and we will be transparent about it and make sure that that you always know what's happening.
Well, that's your voters' responsibility to put the right candidate in office. There's no way I would put a candidate in office that never had a job and put him on a $30,000 budget, a $30 million budget. That's crazy. So you have to know the character of your mayor or who you put in office. You start off wrong, you're gonna end wrong. So, you voters, read your literature that we passing out to you and decide. Don't go by your emotions. Politics ain't no emotion. It's what you know. It's what you have up in here. What you know about politics. We're in a very dangerous situation where now we got Donald Trump in office. We in a very dangerous situation. And we bogged down with local business where we should be thinking of the whole country. Because we have really serious problems. So not only in the city, but the country. So they put Donald Trump in there. Now he's taking Hispanics out of the country and putting them in a prison down in South America. He's invading every Democratic black city with National Guards. That's dangerous. And we must, you got to be aware of who you put in office. That's all I got.
Daniel Burns.
Question for each of you. How do you plan to promote and market East Cleveland as well as redirect the image of East Cleveland? And my second question, if you
Do we need to repeat that?
listen very attentively, how do you plan to promote and market East Cleveland as well as redirect the image of East Cleveland?
Thank you. Well, that used to be my stock and trade, having worked at the Greater Cleveland Growth Association, now the Greater Cleveland Partnership, is positioning our region for investment development and serving as an overall booster for the region. And so from my perspective, number one, we kind of have to get the work done first. It's hard for people to imagine East Cleveland as the diamond in the rough that it is until we actually show some progress and put a little shine on ourselves, right? And so working on our roads, working on our houses, working on pulling down buildings, just making sure our infrastructure is strong and our safety forces are tight is by itself going to help. Building better relationships with the press and the press and others so that we invite them in and they see the changes and the development in the city of East Cleveland. And then, you know what, opening our doors and welcoming people to come and see us, right? Welcome, come back home to East Cleveland. Welcome to East Cleveland. They don't have to come here necessarily to live, although we would like that very much, but we do want them to come to our businesses. We want them to see how our city is changing. And I think that, again, we can show you better than we can tell you, right? Come to our city and see what's happening. Listen to the positive things that are going on here. I would be a tireless advocate for our city, making sure that our doors are open and that people feel welcome in East Cleveland.
Well, just like lately, since I've been in the mayor's, every time I go to Cleveland, it's like everybody know me, so we have to have a mayor that's supporting to clean up this city, to make sure we not tolerating no crime. Don't come in here if you got criminality on your mind. You need a mayor who's gonna be strong enough, and they say, I ain't going in there because Shabazz, he ain't playing, So, we have to make this city a desirable place. Now, I look at City Hall. There's not too many people in City Hall even live here. The police don't even live here. So we got to build homes and we got to give them a rebate, say a 25% rebate to keep the people who work here living here. Because they're taking our money and going to spend it in other towns. We have to keep circulating money here so everybody can touch it at least 10 times. So that's what we have to do to get people to move in here that's desirable and is going to pay taxes, is going to spend and buy groceries here, buy whatever they have to have here. This will bring the city back. So this bring the city back. Have a good. If you see some crime being done, call the police. Okay. Safety is what brings people here. I don't want my kids living here if I feel like if I send them to the store, they may not come back. So that's what we have to do here. We got to be honorable people again. We got to don't accept criminality.
First of all, I'd like to thank both of you for being here with us today. My name is Ron Colucci, and I've been a resident of East Cleveland for 30 plus years. And my question is, what can be done to stop or reduce the litigation that has been occurring between the mayor's office and council?
Well, since I've been up there, I haven't had any problem with council. The problem with council is when King was the mayor. So I haven't had any problem with council. Me and the council got a good relationship. They can come up to my office anytime and talk to me personally. You can ask either one of them. So I don't know what you're referring to, but not with this council and this administration. We working decently together.
I agree. I think that, well, I can't speak to the relationship between council and, well, actually I can, and King, but, you know, there have been a lot of very special moments with our city council over a long time. You know, and it seems as though, even if someone comes from council, as soon as they get in that mayor seat, all of a sudden, you know, all the bets are off, and they put on the boxing gloves, and things get busy. I think that the best way to stop litigation is to work together. You know, my feeling is that, again, as mayor, I would sit down with council in order to build a legislative agenda so that we have direction and we can work, we have some things to work together on, and we can build together. And that builds camaraderie and professionalism in office. We need people who are professional to begin with in office.
This would be on that.
Yes, and by having a strong, professional culture throughout our city hall, and having the ability to work together towards a mutual set of goals, I think that would effectively end the litigation between the two.
I'm so sorry some of your questions were not being able to be asked today, but this will be our last question for the sake of time.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Burns. Now, you've both been in public service, in this job specifically, somewhat uniquely, and you both have these grand plans for what you'll do as mayor in the future. Can you explain for us what prevented you from doing those things when you were residents or council people, etc., and why we should believe that you're now going to do those things in the future? Thank you.
That's a great question. And all I can say is that for the past 18, 20 years, as a resident of East Cleveland, I've been at work somewhere else. I've been at Kent State University, honing my craft there, you know, as the Director of External Affairs and Communications in the College of Arts and Sciences, and sharpening my skills, building my portfolio for just this moment. I was in office for a little over 120 days, and so I'm going to say, if we are realistic, it's pretty difficult to complete the infrastructure projects of the city of East Cleveland, to tear down every bad house, to cut every lot, and to build every relationship that we need in that time frame. And I would venture to say that Mayor Shabazz would say the same. Some of the projects and things that we're talking about are 10, 20, maybe even 30 years into the future. You know, I will be in my rocking chair enjoying a cup of tea on some of the things that I like to see come to fruition. All the same, you know what, you have to get started. At some point you have to get started. And I believe, that old song, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Well, you know what, let there be progress in East Cleveland and let it begin with me.
That was such a long question. Can you repeat that again? Repeat it again, brother.
You've both been in service for a number of years. Why? You have all these promises for the future. Why did you not get them done before? And why should we believe you're going to get them done in the future?
Well, I wasn't here. I only been here 4 years. So I wasn't here so I don't know what promises Brandon King or Gary Norton did. But what you do is, oh, this is crazy. But no, man, you can look at my record, kid, and I'm 71 years old. And I done made it this well, and I look good for 71 years. And that means I lived a clean life. No drugs, no alcohol, and no wild women. So, you can only go by my resume. I am a healthy president. And I want to thank the people of East Cleveland, because however this turn out, I'm going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be fine. My concern is you. I want you to be fine. Because when I was in business, I never worked for money. I worked for referrals. And I always had money. Now, at this place here, I'm working for blessings. It ain't about the money. I used to make, with the band make $65,000. I made twice that much in business. So I'm not impressed. Don't think that this job make me feel like, you know, I'm the greatest. Because I always feel like I'm the greatest. No matter what I do or what job I have. Because that's the confidence that you have to be a winner. You can't go around crying and complaining. You get up every day, you say your little chants, and you go work for God. And that's who I work for, God.
Thank you, Candidate Morgan. Thank you, Candidate Shabazz, Mayor Morgan, Mayor Shabazz. At this time, I would like to mention some of our elected and East Cleveland important people who walked in after the first announcement. So I wanted to recognize Ms. Marie Sanders, who is sitting on the East Cleveland School Board, and I had the pleasure of meeting not too long ago at a Millionaires Row meeting, so nice to have you here. We have also Pastor Vernon Robinson, who is also a sitting member of the East Cleveland School Board. We have the great Pastor Smalls from the East Cleveland Concerned Pastors Alliance, or Association, excuse me. We have former Councilman Mansell Baker in attendance. We have community activist Art McCoy in attendance. We have City Council candidate Lee Coleman. And last but definitely not least, we have Lakeisha Hassan, who is a candidate for East Cleveland Council, a resident of Millionaires Row, and may I say my mother was very impressed with you. So, and now I'll bring up Dr. Mary Rice. Oh, I'm sorry, who got to do? We call Mr. Lovelace, so we're gonna give you a shout out again. We have Mr. Lovelace, who is a candidate for East Cleveland Council. I'm going to shout out Elmore Hall one more time. He is the appointed member. We have Dr. Ian Westbrook, who was a candidate for East Cleveland Council. Ms. Lakeisha Eldemeyer, who was running for the East Cleveland Board of Education. All right.
Thank you so very much. Now, we just have two more things to do before we leave. Each one of the candidates gets 3 minutes to really share with you their platform, or anyway, to sell themselves. They get 3 minutes. And then right after they're finished, we have some door prizes that are phenomenal, okay? So therefore, I want to make sure, and Mr. Jonathan, I know you know who starts first, the 3 minutes, right? Okay. I will turn it back over to the moderators. I'll stay in my lane. Thank you.
Yeah, my goals for East Cleveland is to bring quality people into the city and to get our school system where it was like when I was going to school, okay? Not like the last 20 years. And my goal is to bring this city to where everybody want to live here like they did when I was a kid. We were so proud of East Cleveland school system, the people that was out here. We all was family. Now, a lot of people come, I was here for 40 years. We don't know you, I didn't know you. You know your family. You know, a lot of people came out here after the Huff riots. So that's the people that's probably here now. But we need to bring people in here with visions, with entrepreneurs, because we need to keep this money circulating in East Cleveland. That's the only way it's going to grow. And I want to keep this city so safe that our kids can go to school and you don't even have to worry about them. But we have to have a drug-free environment. These drug houses, I teach school, so you ought to see the kids who suffer from drug abuse because their parents was on drugs or their parents didn't take care of them properly because it was on drugs. We have to get rid of that because that is destroying us as a people. So we can have a clean environment, a great environment where you can don't be pushed out. Because if you don't want to be gentrified, you vote for me. But if you do want to be gentrified, then I guess you vote for my opponent.
I just want to make sure the mic is full. There we go. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters and the Women of East Cleveland, the League of Women Voters, Group of East Cleveland, for putting this forum together. I'd like to thank the moderators, and I'd like to thank you, Mayor Shabazz, for coming to this event. And most importantly, I want to thank you, the citizens and residents of the City of East Cleveland, for listening today and for caring so deeply about our city's future. It's fantastic to see you all in the audience, and we've got a full house, and that speaks volumes. Throughout this campaign, I have shared a simple but powerful vision, a city government that is transparent, competent, and honest. I'm a critical thinker and an even-tempered leader. I don't chase news headlines or make empty promises. I put the community's interests first, and I will always take the time to analyze the facts, weigh the options, and choose what truly moves our city forward. You deserve a city hall that earns your trust every single day, which begins with the team that we build. I will hire smart, skilled professionals to lead our departments, people chosen for their expertise and their integrity, not political favors. Together, we will create a culture of professionalism where residents are treated with respect and where competence is the standard, not the exception. You will never hear me overpromise and underdeliver. My commitment is simple. I'm going to do the work to get things done. Step by step, decision by decision, we will repair what is broken and strengthen what already works. This election is not about reliving old grievances. It's about the art of the possibility, imagining and achieving a better East Cleveland. We can't afford to stay mired in the past. We must turn the page to a new chapter filled with opportunity, cooperation, and progress. Simply stated, I will work very hard for our city. I'll show up every day with energy, focus, and a steady hand. I believe we can build government that reflects the best of our community and a future that we can all be proud of. I've been endorsed by the Cuyahoga Democratic Women's Caucus, the Cuyahoga County Stonewall Democrats, and anticipate several others in the very near future. On November 4th, I humbly ask for your vote, not just for me, but as a signal that you want East Cleveland to move forward. We can write the next chapter together. It's your choice, our destiny. Thank you.
Yeah, don't be surprised. Them same people that get up and cheer, they used to do that for King. When King went to court, none of them showed up.
There you go. Okay, everybody, I'm Mayoral Murphy, and I'm running the raffle. So everybody, please let me know if everybody got a blue ticket. If you didn't get one? Good song. These are the tickets that's already in there. Everybody raise your hand and did not get a blue ticket. If you have a blue ticket, please stay until the end. If you have a blue ticket, please stay until the end. You may win something, and they're very good prices.
Do I need to live stream it?
Last call for tickets. If you did not get a ticket, please raise your hand. This is the last call. Going once, going twice. I'm getting ready to do that in a minute.
Hey, Sean.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're getting ready to pull the first ticket.
Tell her the Board of Elections says that she is not, the Board of Elections is not.
Ticket number 3675880.
All right.
Okay, we